Hey YouTube, this is Daisy Papa 8989 over here, bringing you my newest deck. Decided to build this deck after seeing a ton of people playing it on Dueling Network and getting inspired by my friend James for making it, and I took a lot of his advice to heart with making this deck. So without further ado, I'm going to bring you my Toybox, aka Wind Up deck. So let me show you the build. First up, 3 wind-up soldiers. Basically, these are your 2200 beaters. Can allows you to go for your rank 5 exceeds and rank 4 exceeds. So really great card. I don't see why a lot of people don't run 3 of these. I definitely like running 3 of them. Next up are your MVP of the decks. 3 wind-up sharks. Basically, these can be special summon when you normal summon or special summon another wind-up monster. And basically this adds a lot more much needed speed to the deck and allows you to go into your loops and other swarming combos. So you definitely have to run 3 of these, no excuses. Next up are your 3 wind-up rats. Basically, these allows you to swarm and go for your hunter loop and other swarming combos. So definitely have to run 3 of these. Next up are your 3 wind-up magicians. These are your recruiters for the deck. When another wind-up monster's effect activates, you can activate his effect, special summon another wind-up monster from your deck to the field, and go for Exceed Summon, and allows you to swarm the field with whatever Exceed monster you need for the situation, or go for the more common wind-up hunter loop. So definitely have to run 3 of these, especially with since it combos extremely well with Wind-Up Shark. Next up are your 2 wind-up hunters. Basically, no explanation needed. You don't need to run 3 of these, especially in a pure wind-up deck such as this, since even though the hunter loop is a part of the strategy of this deck, it's not the main focus of the deck. So I find that running 2 allows me to open up the loop pretty consistent, and not clog up the opening hand. So 2 seems to be the magic number. Next up is Cyber Dragon. I mainly keep this as a beater. Keep it for Chimera Tech, Fortress Dragon fodder in case I have to deal with those random machines. And basically allows me to make rank 5 exceeds if I'm missing a wind-up shark along with my wind-up soldier. Next up is Wind-Up Rabbit. Basically allows you to do some fun combos, do delay, setup, and stall for time for you to set up your field for your wind-up combos. So definitely a good card to run. I find that 2 or 3 can be cloggy. 1 seems to be the magic number for me. Next up is Wind Up Dog, another another card which I run. I find basically allows you to make a rank 5 exceed, and it's a monster which you can special summon using Wind Up Rat and make an instant rank 3 exceed. So I like this card, and 1 seems to work just fine. Last but not least, my own tech choice, Neospatian Grandmole. I don't have my own wind-up kitten, but I find that Grandmole does the job just the same, and its effect can be used multiple times, whereas Kitten's effect is limited to once, but you have to use other cards in conjunction with Kitten to reuse it. So I find that Mole does the job just as good, if not better. Next up are the spells. 3 Wonder Factories. These are your black whirlwinds of the deck. Definitely have to run 3 of these. 2 MSCs. Common sense to run these. Next up is Draw Power of the deck. 2 Upstart Goblins. I don't run Pot of Dualities mainly because I feel that Duality slows the deck down, and it gives your opponent a heads up on what you're running and what exactly you're planning. So I feel that your opponent can set up and basically prepare themselves against what your future play could be. So I find that Upstart Goblin gives you that extra draw, and it keeps the element of surprise in your favor. Next is a Pot of Avarice. You go through your resources extremely quickly in this deck, and then Pot of Avarice is a must to run in this deck. Next up is Mind Control, common sense to run it. Smashing Ground, tech choice of mine. Great card, 1-for-1, gets rid of those pesky monsters such as Thunder King, Zenmaines, Utopia, or whatnot. Next up are Book Moon, Common Sense, Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn, and then Dark Hole. Common Sense to run these cards, you have to be idiotic, or just plain stupid not to run those. Next up are the Traps, 2 Solemn Warnings, Staples, 2 Fiendish Chains. With monster effects becoming like more and more dangerous nowadays, and that the format it literally has become more monster effect oriented, I find Fiendish Chain is a great card. I've always ran it in most of my decks, and like it's just like a really good card that who's like it's become a staple now to run. Next up is Solemn Judgment, Common Sense to run it, Torrential, Mirror Force, and then Starlight Roan. And last trap is my own tech choice, which I'm testing out, XYZ Reborn. There are no good reborn or like cards to special summon your XYZ monsters back from the graveyard, since they don't bring back the materials, and an XYZ monster without its material is absolutely useless. So XYZ Reborn prevents that, since it becomes when you special summon the XYZ monster from your graveyard, it Reborn becomes one of its materials, and you basically can use it, use its effects. So I'm testing out Reborn in this deck, and it's working extremely well. I can bring back dead Zenmaides, any dead or Exceed monster that was killed, and basically reuse their effects with this. So really awesome card. This card is seriously underrated. Next up is the extra deck. First up, the rank 5s. Tyrus and Ardreus, Keepers of Armageddon and Genesis. Great cards to run. Next up is Wind Up Arsenal Zenmaya. Basically, this is your Exhibit Hunlay of the deck. Allows you to pop 2 set cards on the field, and really good card to run. Next up is 2 Utopias. I go into rank 4 Exceeds quite easily, so I run 2 Utopias so that I have the option right there. Next up is number Chaos 39 Utopia Ray. Testing this card out to see how good it is and see how viable it is with the mind control. And so far with my testing, I see that it works quite well. Next up is Wind Up Zenmeister. Really great card. It has 2 Book of Moon effects in it, and a lot of people underestimate this card, so I find it to be a really good card. Next up is the engine of the deck. 3 Wind Up Carrier Zenmaides. Basically, these allows you to do your Hunter Loops and swarm the field really quickly. You have to run 3 of these, no excuses. Next up is 2 number 17 Leviathan Dragons. With the ease that this deck can go into rank 3 Exceeds, I run 2 of these. Next up is Wind Up Zenmaines. Quite frankly, probably the best rank 3 Exceed monster in the game. It's like a big beefy wall, and it blows up your opponent's cards. You definitely have to run this if you can afford it. Next up is Stardust Dragon for that Starlight Road, and last but not least, Chimeric Forcer Dragon. Since I run that Cyber Dragon, I can get rid of those pesky machines and that extremely annoying Wind Up Zenmaines. So that's the deck, YouTube. Tell me what you guys think. Comment, rate, subscribe, and like, and peace out.